So did Alberto Fujimori, did he sterilize the indigenous women in Peru? In the Andes Mountain, did he sterilize? I mean, Juan Guaido, I guess he's going to be the president of Peru. All you got to do is just declare dibs, right, Juan Guaido? So Alberto Fujimori, his sterilization program is going to sterilize over 270,000 women and 22,000 men. They're sterilized as part of a government-run birth control program. So the whole thing is, oh, here, get your tubes tied for free, get a vasectomy for free, right, for anybody who wanted it. So if you wanted it, the thing was free. But, yeah, I guess people weren't running in droves, and so they had to force motherfuckers between 96 and 2000. And this is according to the official figures from Peru's health ministry. So this is what they admit to themselves. And the program is part of an anti-poverty drive. They're trying to cut birth rates amongst poor families. And Alberto Fujimori, he's going to brag about lowering the birth rates. He's guilty of war crimes. He's committed massacres. He was part of death squads that went around killing a whole bunch of innocent people. 69,000 once was a term I heard. But Alberto Fujimori boasted that the sterilization program dropped Peru's birth rate from 3.7 children per woman in 1990 to 2.7 children a decade later. So from 4 kids per woman to 3 kids per woman. Wow, look at Alberto Fujimori. Is that what Peru wanted? Did Peru want to cut their birth rates back? That sounds like some elitist, depopulation bullshit. 32 million people in Peru. That's 5 times bigger than Colorado. 2.5 million tons of lithium carbonate has been discovered in Puno. I wonder if that has to do with... So Fujimori is going to sell them raw materials to the USA INC, the USA Incorporated. So U.S. Congress, they found out about this, overzealous. The Fujimori's government is going to say that the local medical authorities were overzealous. Their zeal got the best of them. They just got overzealous. So they blamed it on the, peasants on the front lines. U.S. Congress is going to cut the aid payments to Peru that had used to fund the program. And then, he's going to brag about the damn thing. I just feel like he's, engaged in fucking bribery and war crimes and, search and seizure without warrants and just corruption after. So is it possible? It's definitely possible. And then you got specific cases, specific names, and people, they filed these cases, in 97, 98, and they're just now getting, maybe a semblance, a tiny bit of, maybe they'll get their day in court. And doesn't everybody's do their day in court? 272,000 people, and they're poor, rural areas, indigenous, and a lot without consent. They're going to do, resource depletion, economic down, so to help with the economics to, get rid of some of these resource depleters. These are euphemisms for what Alberto Fujimori and past leaders of Peru refer to as the Indian problem. Higher birth rates among indigenous people than Peruvians of European descent, since indigenous women of Quechua descent had the highest poverty rates in Peru. They were the government's main target for family planning. Lima, Peru. So this is, you have, judicial process led by Judge Rafael Martinez. Alberto Fujimori is on trial right now. You got brand new prosecutor, Pablo Espinoza. He said sterilizations were carried out in unsanitary conditions and that some women died from the infections. Alberto Fujimori had been implicated in the deaths of 5 women and the injuries of another 1,301 women who are allegedly sterilized against their will. This is the Verde Plan, the Green Plan, Plan Verde, to exterminate entire social groups such as the poor and the criminal. I can understand criminals, but why the poor? I don't understand. That one doesn't make sense to me. So, forced sterilization. Wikipedia says, did Alberto Fujimori, is he guilty of forced sterilization? Wikipedia says yes. There's 5 specific victims: Maria Marita Mestanza, Rudecinda, Quechuan-Speaking, Maria Elena Esperanza Huayama, Dionysia Calderon. The police said to my husband, if she doesn't get sterilized, the police will arrest you right now and you'll be sterilized instead. So they said, either we'll sterilize your wife or we'll sterilize you. And they threw the wife on the trolley, tied her up. This is Rudecinda Quechuan-Speaking. Over 270,000 people, many of them indigenous, women, poor, rural, without their consent. So Rudecinda, she's a young Quechua Indian woman. She was dragged to the operating place, forced to be sterilized. The husband was threatened to be forced with, either you or her. And it's not just the countryside. It's not just the rural. Maria Elena, she was 17 years of age. She went into a Lima hospital for a cesarean section after the birth of her son. She found out that doctors had sterilized her when her husband discovered that she was now infertile. He left her. In this hospital, they ruined my life. She says, I think the government wanted to get rid of poor people like me. Presently, Alberto's children, Keiko Fujimori and Kenji Fujimori, taking political strides. Keiko's party, Popular Force, the use of force, police brutality, the Nazi Party controlling much of the Congress of the Republic of Peru from 2016 to 2020 through a system that was constitutionally drafted by her father. So the Nazi Party, because the Constitution was written by, Hitler, and Hitler wasn't even born in there's questions about whether he was actually born in Peru, which he had to be if he was going to be a candidate. One of the doctors responsible for the sterilizations, Dr. Washington, is now running for mayor in ANTA, A-N-T-A. The hearings have given thousands of indigenous women in Peru hope that their abusers may finally be held criminally accountable for violating their reproductive rights, depriving them of children, and decimating the indigenous population by preventing the births of future generations. And recent legislative changes now entitle victims of forced sterilization to medical, financial, educational reparations, and maybe an actual official apology. Peruvian protester holds a sign, forced sterilizations are not myth or errors, they're crimes against humanity, clearly. Dionysia, health officials took me to the hospital, forced me to undergo surgery. Dionysia Calderon, in a public testimony organized by the National Organization of Andean and Amazonian Indigenous Women in Peru in 2017. So Alberto Fujimori is 82 years old right now, serving a 25-year prison sentence for 2 killings, 2 massacres by the military during his, 1990s administration, 1991, 1992. He was convicted of corruption, faces another trial, the murder of 6 farmers by another military death squad. Fujimori said through his lawyers that he should not be tried in the sterilization case because when he was extradited from Chile in 2007, it wasn't part of the group of crimes that they said he was going to be judged for. Some other former members of Fujimori's government are also accused in the sterilization case. As President Fujimori announced at a Congress in China in 1995 that his government would undertake a program to help poor Peruvian women decide the number of children they wanted to have. So Fujimori is sitting there bragging to China. They're the one with the baby policy, right? He's bragging to China that he's going to do the same shit to Peruvian, and then he's bragging about 4 to 3. My God, it almost seems fucking obvious as shit. Now, recently he actually, said that he's apologized, he's sorry, he wants forgiveness, and he keeps on, he's 82 years old, he's old as shit. And he got pardoned, and then the pardon was overturned by the Supreme Court, and so now it's kind of up in the air, but he's 82, and he's he's almost checked out. And his daughter has been, nearly the president 3 times in a row. 2015, 2006, I don't know, 2009, whatever. The last 2 elections, Keiko Fujimori almost fucking won, and it looks like she almost won this one, right? So I think he's been, I don't know if he's been vindicated, redeemed, I don't know, neutralized, but he's been neutralized. So, yeah, he goes to China bragging about this program. Rather than getting consultation on the reproductive rights of the Peruvian women did as they visited public health clinics. They're offered family planning methods, and one of them was tubal ligation. Tubal ligation is tying of the tubes. Hey, you want your tubes tied? Hey, you want a vasectomy? Hey, you want a vasectomy? Victims and families of victims of forced sterilization began to seek legal recourse in 1998, 2 years before Alberto Fujimori's downfall. The family of Maria Margarita Mastanza, who is coercively sterilized, suffered health complications. She's going to die April 5th, 1998. They filed charges at the National Prosecutor's Office against the chief of the health center that performed her tubal ligation. Judges twice ruled there was an insufficient grounds to prosecute the doctor. Tubal ligation, surgical procedure to prevent pregnancy. It's commonly been called getting your tubes tied. It's female sterilization. Tubal refers to the fallopian tubes. Each month, an egg is released from an ovary, travels through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Ligation means to tie off. Esperanza Huyama testifies about her first sterilization 18 years earlier under Alberto Fujimori's government. Amnesty International Press Conference 2015. Judge Rafael Martinez determined the court needed more translators for all the Quechua dialects. Hearings resumed March 1st in Lima, formalized the charges. According to prosecutor Pablo Espinoza Vasquez, Fujimori, convicted in 2009, jailed for crimes against humanity. His conviction overturned 2017 on health-related grounds. This is a humanitarian pardon. It was annulled in 2017. 2018, a court-appointed team of medical experts concluded the former dictator was fit to serve the rest of his sentence, and Alberto Fujimori was sentenced back to jail. Most of the thousands of women who have spoken out are poor, indigenous, Quechua and Incan, right, is their first language, only limited or no Spanish, meaning that they didn't know, what the fuck anybody was saying or what the document said. They were pressured to sign, sterilized against their will. So, Rudecindo Quilla was one of those whose statement forms part of the legal evidence. She says that when she tried to get issued a birth certificate for her fourth child in 1996, she was told by doctors that the only way to get the certificate would be to agree to have tubal ligation. Rudecindo says Quilla, Miss Quilla, but it was something Wanda or something, right? Quilla Wanda, who was 24 at the time, refused. She said she was forced onto a hospital bed. This is the one that they said either your husband or her. She was forced onto a hospital bed, her hands and feet tied while she was injected with an anesthetic. When she woke up hours later, she'd been sterilized, and the staff told her that she would never breed like an animal again. You're never going to breed like an animal again? Yeah, that's some Nazi, genocidal, fucking crazy bullshit. That wasn't a good service offered to the poor Peruvian people. That was to make sure them poors don't have no kids. Criminals, criminals make sense, right? What, in prison? I mean, to allow them to, Jesus Christ. But there's, a logic. There's a logic. A criminal, why would you even allow, okay, so if we were to pick DNA, anyway, so but poor people, criminals, they hurt somebody. Poor people are just, they just didn't have a good job, right? They haven't found a good job yet. So, that's, fucked up. And it looks like Alberto Fujimori forced sterilized a bunch of Quechuan brown native, rural bumpkins, a bunch of fucking bumpkins, a bunch of rural country bumpkins who didn't know any fucking better, spoke Quechuan, and, fucked them over for life. 270,000 women, 22,000 men. It'd be interesting, just ask those people that they did it to, if they did it intentionally, if they knew what they were signing up for. Just ask them. Did you know what you're signing up for? Yes or no. Just send them all a yes or no questionnaire. So there you go. Hopefully Pedro Castillo is the winner. Because this Fujimori guy